My name is Priyesh Wagh and welcome to Dynamics 365 July 27 release for customer updates webinar. During the entirety of this session, everyone will be on mute. If you have any questions, you can type in the box and I will address them during the end of the session. And in case if you happen to miss any part of the session, this will be available tomorrow on YouTube as well at CloudFriends channel. So a lot of attendees have joined. Let's start with the webinar. Let me walk you through all the topics that we're going to cover today. So this is what we have for Dynamics 365 July 2017 updates. Since this is a customer update, we will look at what's present and what's visual. First is around user experience enhancements in web apps. So this is across all the applications. And next up is the user interface refresh. So the existing client will go through a refresh and you'll get a whole new UI in the version 9 of this update. We will also look at one of the advanced find changes that has come up, and I have a short demo of that for you as well. Next big change is the unified interface. So unified interface means giving you a whole new look and feel across all devices, be it on the web browser, be it on your tablet applications or phones. You'll get a centralized look and feel across all the devices. Next is the extensibility of this and the app platform. That is, you can create your own app and just see what matters most to you. Next up is a new functionality which is called as virtual entities. Means you just bring data into your Dynamics 365 but not actually store anything on your Dynamics 365. Then is the customer service hub, a centralized place to manage everything for customer service representatives. It is a replacement to interactive service hub. Then few more features around business process flows and how they fare well with the new unified interface. Then for mobility, we have the Outlook app and how you can use Dynamics 365 app for Outlook and features around that. And finally, the Dynamics 365 mobile app itself. A good thing about it is that you don't need to update. So let's begin with the first thing. First is that user experience enhancement. You'll get a whole new visual UI refresh, and it is consistent across sales, customer service, field service, and product service automation. So let me bring up my Dynamics 365 preview. And as you can see, if you remember, if you go back to your Dynamics 365, this is completely newly redesigned user interface. It's a lot cleaner, good spacing between the rows. There are lines as well, and you can easily distinguish what record you want to go. If I just open up any of the sample accounts, like I have this Arlington University office, I'll open up this and let's see what we have got for the web client refresh. All right, there we go. So as you can see, data is easily separated out. There's no white space. They have covered everything, and everything is boxed so that you don't see that where my fields end and where the next section starts. That is what happens in the current user interface, that in case your fields are not long enough, you see a lot of white space. Maybe if you have next section starting 2 to 3 spaces in between, you see a lot of white space there as well, and then you keep on scrolling down. But now as you can see, everything is compacted and everything feels in one place at all, and it looks all tight. So this is all the web UI refresh. This is across sales, service, project service, automation, and service as well. So if you just scroll down, this is your entire existing form itself. Yeah. Next up, we'll walk through what all has been changed. So if I go back to my Dynamics 365, we'll see what all changes are there and what we can observe. Yeah, so now since data is grouped equally in easy to read containers, you can easily identify that, okay, account information is this box. Previously, you used to have sections and just have directly fields under it without any containers. So it needs another look to identify that okay, this is a section and these 5 fields are under those sections. But now since everything is boxed out, you understand that okay, this entire thing is your section and this entire thing whole together is your tab. Now if you observe one more thing, you can easily identify that if you have any blank field, it is easily pointed out by dotted lines. So this helps you distinguish that okay, I have 3 fields easily missing on this particular section, so let me just go and fill them out. Next, if you had lengthy field labels, they used to go behind the label field itself. But now since they have offered label wrapping, you can see that I have this lengthy label called as organization official website. And since it can't fit, it just went to the line below it so that I can read the complete field name itself. Another cool feature is that you get colors for subgrids. So if I want to decide that okay, I will keep all the contact subgrids across my Dynamics 365 in a particular color, so I will give contacts a blue color, I will give my opportunities purple color. So no matter in which entity I am, just by looking at the color, I get a visual feedback that okay, this is opportunities here, this is contact on this particular form, which is it puts one thought behind that okay, I don't need to really read what the grid is about. So all these visual feedback and indicators really help go through your forms and data in a very useful manner. Next, if you don't have any data under a certain section, you get this useful information that there are no records to show. So maybe at times you wonder that okay, I have loaded my form entirely, but why is my data not loading up? Then and we have to remind that okay, there might be not no data at all, but this visual indicator actually lets you know that there is no data at all. So this also is a important indication as well. So that was all from the web user interface refresh. Next major thing is the unified interface. So this is a whole new change and I have complete demo for you set up on the same. Going back to my Dynamics 365, if I go into my apps, I can see that all my apps are now divided either with a web user interface or a unified interface. So let me go to Sales Hub.
Just give us a second. Priyesh is having.
Can you hear me okay?
No, we can't hear
No,
you.
we
Priyesh.
can't
Just
hear
give
you,
us.
Priyesh.
Yeah, okay. So sorry about that. All right, so here we are on the unified interface. Now, as you can see, this is a completely new user interface. And what I have in front of me is something that you are seeing for the first time maybe, because this is an interactive dashboard. And it's unlike your existing web client, and the buttons, text, and the graphics are newly refined, so it looks all fresh. Now, if I just enable this visual filter, this is one of the features of the interactive dashboard which comes with the unified interface, is that you get different filters and that too visual. Now imagine you are shopping on Amazon and you just want to apply some filters to actually get the products you want to see. Same thing, same formula goes here, that you want to see, just show me all the cases with normal priority. So your filter will be added here, your data will refresh and show what matches the criteria. And if I further want to boil down to just okay, show me the 2 cases which have come only from email, so I'll just click here. So now I'm seeing only 2 cases with normal priority which are active and which came from the email. So this is a good input we can give and actually see results in a quick progression. So this is a nice feature called as interactive dashboard. This comes with the unified interface. Next up, let's look at the forms and views which we were looking at the existing traditional web interface. So you must be wondering what is this on the left hand side. It's actually your sitemap. If you click on the hamburger button, it will expand and show you all the entities here. So just to coordinate between the two, the existing tiles that is called as sales, is what appears here and is highlighted. So you're actually looking at sales and all the groups and entities under them, that is sub areas. And this is another tile, or this is another area. I have one group resources and one sub area called as help center. So I've not put anything under it. We'll focus on the sales. Let me just go and look at the contacts. So here I am on the contacts entity. So the view is also cleaner, it's nicely lit. I'll just open up one of the records because I have something to show you on the forms. Okay.
So while Priyesh is opening up this form, as you guys can see, the UI for this unified interface is different. This is the path forward for how we kind of consider CRM across web, mobile, through our Outlook app. This is the interface we'll start seeing everywhere. So while today, when this product comes out, you'll see the web, the traditional web interface, which Priya showed before, and this unified interface. I think going forward, the goal is to have this, this is as the main interface.
Yes, exactly, Anil. So now you can see this form. Now it looks quite a little colorful than the traditional web interface. And what good about this is that I don't have all the form in just one page. So I can just scroll down and the summary section just ends here. But this is not all. Now you had more multiple tabs underneath, but those are all just placed at the right hand side. So if you want to come to account form and just want to see the details, you just don't have to open the form again and scroll all the way down to till you see the details tab. Now you can just find the details tab right there and click on it, and then you can see all the fields from the details tab itself. Also, you had a little arrow up here besides the name of the record where you used to click and navigate to related records. But now it's also in a form of another tab available. You can just click on it and you will be able to see all the related entities just line up here. So going from here to there, it's pretty easy as well. So this is a major change in how you navigate around your Dynamics 365 forms and views across multiple entities within the sitemap itself. It's very easy, and there are not a lot of page changes. It's just there. You just have to go from one tab to other, and it's all in one view itself. So I think with this use, unified interface will be a habit in the future, and will take away the lengthy scrolls away from the existing web client.
So, Priyesh, one of the big things, if you go back to your unified interface, is the fact that how you can get to the related items. Many customers get frustrated by the amount of clicks we have to do to get to the related tab. And now the fact that it's right here on the form makes our form more intuitive, but makes our ability to get to information a lot faster. I think customers would appreciate that. And I'm sure many of our customers, I think one of your customers that you work with in Europe has expressed a deep desire to quickly move to this version, especially because of the easy way to navigate to the related tabs, right?
Yes, absolutely true. And I also have to point out another feature that it replaces the entire section of notes, activities, and posts, and which is called as the timeline. So this is one stream where you get all the data in one single stream and one complete block, that you don't have separate sections for activities, notes, and posts, but all of them are just lined under the same, which is called as timeline. All of them, as you can see, are actionable as well. Like I don't need to open up the record and just find the ribbon, all the buttons in the ribbon, and then do actions. I can just do all the common actions from right here. Like if there's a task for from myself, if I want to assign it to someone else, I can just click it here. If I want to delete it, I will just click delete, and I don't have to go anywhere else. If you click the ellipsis, there are more options relevant to that particular item. Like if I want to just close out this activity, I can do so, or add it to a queue, and maybe just open the record as well. So this is a new and powerful feature that everything puts under a single bar, and you don't have to uh, you know click across activities, posts, or emails to see different sections of the data. So that was from the unified interface. Moving ahead, Yeah, so I talked about how it is looking consistent across different devices. So this is how it will look on the web, as we just saw. It will look like the one in the screen below, but even on your phone, your tablet, and your MacBook maybe, it will look that you're just looking at the same interface. It's just aligned in a different way. So which is exciting because we are waiting for it to come out. Next is the advanced find change. So there's a new operator for us that is called as not in. So let me go to my Dynamics 365. So there is a requirement where you might be wondering, you might want to search something that doesn't have any child records, or if a sales person wanted to search that, let me find all the accounts that don't have any opportunity, or we haven't started any business with them. So they might have to rattle their brains around how do I develop a query. But now this is quite simple. So first I'm going to search all the opportunities under all the accounts that don't have any opportunities under them. So now since I'm on accounts, I'm looking at accounts. I will go to Reddit.
So, so while Priyesh is selecting accounts and with no opportunities, from a sales angle, this has the biggest implications. Hey, show me all my customers or accounts where I have no open opportunities, or show me all my customers where I have zero activity. If anybody has worked with previous versions of CRM, this used to be a very convoluted mess just to get this information. Create a marketing list, add a lookup, do a not find, and do a bunch of stuff just to get to accounts that had no activity or no opportunity. So you know whom to follow up with. So now this huge the word not in is actually huge for this release.
Exactly. And if you're a good observer, you have noticed that this is a new filter right besides opportunity entity selection itself, and which only has options that okay does not contains or contains data. So yeah, I'm going to change this and I click OK. So it will show you that okay, conditions can't be added under this, and I click results. So what I just queried is that show me all the accounts that don't have any opportunities under it, that opportunities in the bracket account, that it doesn't have any parent accounts. So I have three such accounts which whom I don't have any opportunities for. So that means okay, that these are the three accounts that I need to do something about, and maybe just assign them to someone and they can proceed with opportunity creation and stuff. Also, another important use is that if you have to find all the accounts that you haven't communicated at all since you have created them in the system, maybe you can just go to activities as a regarding and do the same thing. Just show me all the accounts that don't have any activity under them, neither a phone call nor an email was sent out, or not even an appointment scheduled. So okay, these same three accounts. So this means that these are the same accounts that I really need to look at, and no one has been taking any care of them. So this is a very important feature which just gives you, with a few clicks and using advanced find, you are able to find that data instead of going the long way. So this is a change that is coming up. And this will, I bet this will be very useful too. So let's see what's next in the slide deck. Yes, extensibility and app platform. So what this is, that you can develop an app without having to engage any developer, add it in your sitemap, and only visit that app every time you use Dynamics 365. Maybe you don't need to look at all the things, other entities that don't really matter to you all the time. So this is business users can design themselves, and you also get your own personalized landing page, and these have some search capabilities. So let me walk you through the demo of the same itself. I have already created an app, so I'll show you how I can access those. Let's say that I'm already on the web client. I'll click on sales. I'll go to my apps under settings, and I have this app created as my office. So I can select either a web client to showcase this app, or I can select a unified interface. Not both at the time, but I can select only one. So I've selected user interface. Let's go into my office app. So first I'll show you what the app is and what I have kept inside. Then next I'll show you how did I do it. Yeah, so I have kept things pretty minimalistic. So I have only two sections, that is front office and marketing bay. So if I expand my sitemap, this is my front office and this is my marketing bay. I don't have much apart from advertisements in the marketing bay. And if I go to front office, I have dashboards and activities and accounts, because only that much is what matters to me. So how I got to this is that if I go back to my traditional interface, I will start by modifying this app itself, and I'll show you what all components let me build this app. So same, you go under settings, and you go to my apps. So you see these three ellipses here. I can just click here and I can open this in the app designer. So app designer is completely user interface based application where you can just drag drop things into your app, into sitemap, dashboards and entities. You can even search the components that you want if you have a lengthy list of entities, and you can add them and design. You can just save them, validate it once and publish, and it's just ready for you. So let's take a look at what I have in the sitemap. I mentioned I had front office and I mentioned I had a marketing bay. So this is how my traditional user interface would look if I had the type web selected when I created my app. But now since I have unified interface, I have front office and marketing bay show up in my unified interface sitemap. So just as a usual sitemap designer, you can just create your new area, create a group for it, and add your multiple entities into the user interface. You can just save it and publish. Your sitemap is done just right there. So I'll go back to my app designer. Coming to dashboards, all dashboards don't matter to me. So what I did is I have added two interactive dashboards, knowledge manager and tier 1 dashboards. And on the right hand side, as you can see, since I'm navigating dashboards, it's showing me the list of all the classic dashboards that are available and the interactive dashboards which I've already selected and added. Same thing you can do with business process flow. You can add all the business process flow which are relevant to you. Entities, all the main entities that are selected and related entities will be added here, and then I can go through and select that, okay, do I really need all the forms from the account, or maybe do I need all the forms to show up from the advertisement, or do I need to see all the views from advertisement entity? You can select whatever you like, just save those all those changes and publish, and your app is just ready just like that. Now since I have done this in the unified interface, the same format will appear on across all of my devices. So this is a major functionality which easily gets you create your own app and just add what's relevant. Next good functionality within this is the canvas, the search canvas. Suppose if you're not if you're lost your way in adding your components, maybe you can just search something as opportunities. What it would do is that it would search all the components. Now it's not showing up. Yeah, it's expected to be refined and showing better results once the full-fledged version is out. But what I would just like to tell here that it would show all the forms, views, charts and dashboards and everything related to opportunities, and I can pick that component and drag it inside. It would get placed at the right spot. So this is also an important feature. This will help you design your app faster instead of just going to each section and then adding searching entities. So this was all about the extensibility and the app platform, and business users easily can design themselves. Next up, yeah, that was the demo that I had shown. Virtual entities. Yes, this is a great feature that has come up in Dynamics 365 version 9, which is virtual entities. The name itself is quite self-explanatory that your entity does exist inside Dynamics 365, but it's virtual. That means it doesn't store any data inside your Dynamics 365. Now let me tell you something about it. What it does is you connect to a data source outside of your Dynamics 365 using OData version 4, and imagine that your data source has been exposed by this service. You create a source record, you connect to that using a URL. Once you have that, once the connection is successful, you can create a normal entity like you do in your Dynamics 365, mark it as virtual, and you can add your fields. So let me just walk you through that. So if I go into my settings, I'll go into my administration area. So I have a new option here, virtual entity data sources. So I will open this up. I have already created a source, external service. So I'll show you what I did. So you can give a relevant name to it. I have named it at external service. And then you post the URL which exposes the database and exposes the metadata. So this is services.odata.org. Now this is freely available to everyone. Even if you type right now after the session in the browser, you will be able to see this. So I typed in metadata. So it's showing me all the entities under this exposed data source. So what I'm doing is I'm actually connecting to advertisement entity. I'm able to do this only because it has a GeoID type of attribute present in that. Now, let's say I'm just connected successfully, and let me show you what I did to create an entity. Now, if I go into settings and if I go into customizations, I've created an entity in the default solution itself. So what you do is you usually create entity in a way you do, but you just mark it as virtual. So the advertisement entity which you saw in the sitemap, it's this and it's virtual. So I'll just show you what I've done here.
So while Priyesh is bringing this up, from a business standpoint, over many years, we've been integrating, let's, for example, take invoices from our ERP system into our CRM system. When we've done such integrations, we are actually transferring all of that data, header data, line item data, product data, from ERP into our CRM system, and that is eventually prone to issues, errors. Product didn't match. There was an issue with the line item, integration was not running. So instead of actually transferring data, virtual entity allows you to not put data into Dynamics and significantly increases the reliability of integration. And a lot of this data is read-only, right? So the sales guy really just wants to look at invoicing data, doesn't really need to do anything with it. So it kind of leaves it outside of CRM, makes your integration very reliable, and can be used in many such scenarios.
Yes. So this is the entity, and as you observe, I have check marked as while creating that it's a virtual entity. So it did create the metadata for me. So if I go into fields, it would have created the default name form, the name field and the primary key. But what I have to do extra with that is that I have to open these fields and make sure I put the external name in this to the name of the property itself. And I have to do that for every field. So once I'm taken care of all the fields, my entity is ready, and I have just created this extra field since this was also present, and I've just published it. Now since I published it in the usual way like I would for an entity, I've added it to service section and it's here. So there's some issue with creating virtual entity for me because I think this is still under process and it's still getting refined for actual use. So we can expect this to be completely fixed in a few days and you can actually see data. But I'll tell you what happens if I had done that. Like let's say you were in your accounts entity, you would see all the records itself. That's exactly how you would see in your virtual entities, but that data wouldn't have been stored in your Dynamics 365. It comes from outside. So there are a few things that we can derive by looking on the points that since virtual entity data is not stored in Dynamics 365, you cannot update it because it's an external data. And since you can't update it, you can't even run business process flows or workflows on them. Next, virtual entity is so easy to configure that developers don't need to get involved in this, and it connects to external data sources just by creating one record. So I think once this comes up, it will be very useful.
So, Priyesh, one thing I must say, you keep saying developers are not needed. You are a developer. I'm not sure this is great for you. Anyways, carry on.
Yes, that's nice. So after virtual entities, what we have is the customer service hub. So yes, so service hub, as I mentioned at the beginning, is that it's in the unified interface itself. So let me open my app, and I should see Customer Service Hub right there. So with this release, Interactive Service Hub is sunset and Customer Service Hub has taken place, which utilizes the Unified Service Hub. And this is a great interface for customer service representative to see all of the data at one glance for their customer service representative to take actions on. So it's the same unified interface. They have just replaced it with the Customer Service Hub. You can have interactive dashboards, as I said. So this is already an interactive dashboard I can interact with. Then there is a useful feature called as docking stages in business process flow, but I will show you that in the business process flow enhancement as well. Then if I go back to my slide, one feature that I couldn't find in this preview is the enriched email experience. Maybe that is also behind the scenes and is bound to be out soon. But as you can see on my screen, that this is how it looks like. Now you get a full rich formatting email designer, which you can also get for in a form of HTML, and you can preview before actually sending an email out from Dynamics 365. So this is a great thing that we can expect in the Customer Service Hub in coming days. Yes, improved business process flows. So a lot of improvements across business process flows. So let's go back to my Dynamics 365. How I will start with the Sales Hub. So just let me go to my Dynamics 365. I will open case records. Sorry, I will open my opportunities record because I have something customized for you which better demonstrates business process flows as well.
Priyesh is bringing this up. Again, to let you guys know that the webinar is being recorded and will be available tomorrow through our YouTube channel at CloudFronts. And you'll also receive it in your email. So be ready for that.
Yes. So yeah, so let me open up one of the opportunities. Yeah, so I have a business process flow running for 19 hours now. Now the new business process flow doesn't really take up all the space. It's just available here in the dotted format. Yeah, and if I click on it, I'm able to see all the fields that are under that particular stage. So maybe if I just click away, it will go away, right? But I can still click here and I will pin this on the right hand side so that, okay, it's still there and I can work with the rest of the form. The same thing, this entire business process flow is also available as is in your mobile and tablet devices as well. Another great features is that business process flows are available as entities in Dynamics 365. But before I take you to that, let me also introduce one more topic, that is step action. So step action appears like a button here. So I have an entity called as docket, and what I want to do is that, okay, it looks good, like this opportunity is just about to be won. Let me send out a docket of brochure and a leaflet maybe to this particular customer. So once I press this button, this will execute a workflow. So the step action can either trigger a workflow or an action in Dynamics 365, and then you can have your steps defined in the workflow like you would have a normal workflow. So if I click on this, it will show as processing. Okay, so maybe things are still being fixed in the background, but what would happen is that yesterday what I tested is that once I clicked on execute, my workflow ran and it was able to create a docket record wherein I passed all this information that this is the client, this is the type of docket, and maybe send it by a couple of days. So it's just by like that, with the click of a button, you click here and you forget about it, and maybe then just move to the next stage. So this is how you execute the step action in business process flow. Another important change is that the business process flows are available as entities. So again, let me go back to my traditional interface. I've added those things in my sitemap. So business process flows as entities means you can actually access business process flows as records in Dynamics 365. Now, since this particular feature is available in preview, you would need to enable it from the administration section. Yeah, so if I scroll a little right on my sales area, I can see that there's a new group called as business process flows. And if I go to opportunity sales process, so this is one business process flow that I was using. So I'll just click it. It will appear as an entity. And all these records will tell me that at which stage is the active in each of these records. So this is now available as an entity itself. And if you open any of these are just the records that have business process flow in them. So it will open up relevant records. Like if it was the lead, it would open a lead, an opportunity, or wherever your business process flow might span. Yeah. So this is where I am in this particular opportunity. So this is the other way to look at business process flows. First you used to look at entities and then the business process flow. Now you look at business process flow and then you look at what records reside in them. So this is also a new feature coming up. So that was from the business process flow standpoint. Moving ahead is the Outlook app. So I have not set this up on my phone yet, but I have some screenshots for you that explains what goes behind. So as you can observe that this is actually Dynamics 365 app for Outlook. So where my pointer is the add-in on your Outlook email application. Once you click on it, it's again utilizes the unified interface and you see records in a form of list items. Next, you have the full sitemap capability right in the Dynamics 365 add-in itself. So, if you want to navigate to other records as well, you just have to scroll a list. So your full sitemap capabilities, because this sits on top of unified interface. Your favorites and recent records are also available there. Next is the detailed record view. So it's not just surfacing important fields from the record. You actually go into the entire record itself with the business process flow. So you can just select a record and you can navigate to the actual record that looks in Dynamics 365, which is I think a great feature to have here. Then you have the relevant search enabled for this as well. So you have this global search feature available right inside Dynamics 365 app for Outlook. So these were the enhancements from the Outlook section. Next up is the Dynamics 365 mobile applications. So now I will need to bring up my mobile phone here. Yeah. So I'm mirroring my phone here as we speak. And right now I'm inside my Dynamics 365 application. So now since this utilizes the unified interface itself, let me bring up my sitemap. There we go. Now since I'm inside Sales Hub, I'm able to see all the entities. I have dashboards, activities, and all the grouped entities as well. So if I just go to accounts, yeah, if I expand this section, I will see all the recently used records. But let me go into accounts entity. Yes, so yeah, so I have all these active accounts, but what previously used to need to go into each record and then take actions. But now as you can see ellipsis in front of each record, you can just click on the three dots and you would get all the actions that you would need to do without opening the record. So if I want to just assign it to someone, maybe I would do that. I would deactivate it from here or just delete it. So all these features are quickly available, and as you can see the interface is also refreshed and it feels good like just any other app on your phone. So this has all been refined thanks to the new unified interface. So there are a few more points to highlight in Dynamics 365 mobile app is that yeah, you do get new navigation and taking action on the record is just what I mentioned. but for developers, we have that you get support for iframe and web resources as well. So previously, I also had this recent requirement as a developer that client wanted to see something on the phone, but it was not available. So I tried that with iframe, and I realized that it's not available with the current version of Dynamics 365. But then I got this good news that support for iframe and web resources is fully available, like you have for the web. Next up is the continuum support for Windows Phone. In case you have a Windows Phone, you can just dock it, and you can use your Dynamics 365 in full screen mode. Finally, getting offline is faster. Previously, if you click on offline, it used to consume a lot of resources. You had to wait till all of the items are being downloaded, and then finally, you had to move your attention away from being online. But now you can just go offline quicker than before. So I think these are all the improvements about Dynamics 365 mobile app. And the best thing about this is that you don't need to download a separate app. Once your Dynamics 365 instance is up on the ninth version, version 9.0, your mobile phone will automatically get all those features without doing anything. So you just have to keep watching for that. And that was all from the agenda. But we have a couple of webinars lined up in this series. On 20th September, we do have another webinar for what's new for developers, in which we'll be diving deep about Dynamics 365. And finally, we also have customer insights webinar scheduled on 27th of September. I hope this webinar was useful for you. Let me check if there are any questions.
So thanks, Priyesh. There were some questions. Somesh and myself, we've already answered those questions. So there are no more questions.
Yeah, thanks Anil and Somesh for helping me here. I think our viewers will go back and look excited about using the new features here. So thank you all for attending and thank you for your time. Bye bye.